You are the light of consciousness, O Ram. In you are the worlds rooted. Who is your friend and who is other? You are the infinite. In you are all the worlds, strung like beads of a rosary. I suspect the worlds here are the three worlds, and that's the physical world, the world of the imagination, that's the subtle world, and then there's the world of pure awareness. So they point like an arrow. You can think of them as a rosary, if you like, which will take you to that awareness. If you take your attention from the physical through the subtle world of the imagination, and even beyond that to your awareness. So it says like a rosary, or like an arrow pointing to your awareness. That being which thou art is neither born nor does he die. That being which thou art. And one wonders why Swami Venkatesananda, the translator, has resorted to this language. And I suspect he's paraphrasing something. It's like how we say, know thyself. That's the old maxim, know thyself. We don't say know yourself, although we could easily say that. It's just that it's a very ancient maxim, know thyself. And he's saying here, that being which thou art. And there's a well-known injunction or statement saying that thou art Tat Tvam Asi. You are all this. In other words, your personal identity is no different from the notions of the world. Notions of personal identity arise with notions of the world, and all that arises in awareness. This is where thou art comes from. That being which thou art is neither born nor does he die. The self is real. Birth and death are imaginary. You might take issue with that. Birth and death are imaginary. They certainly seem to have some kind of reality, but again, a lot of that is tied in with our own beliefs. And beliefs are simply that. Don't confuse beliefs with truth. Look into your awareness and you'll find that all these notions, all these things which we took as facts, are simply notions. These notions arise in that awareness. And if you still have a problem with that, then inquire into what is birth, what is death, what is life, what do we mean by life. Inquire into these things. You'll find when you look into it, it's very difficult to come up with any answers. What is life, for example? If we're talking about birth and death, we must be talking about life. What is the difference between something that's alive and something that's dead? Can we even say that there is such a thing as life? All these things are categories which we invest with a certain reality. Inquire into the nature of all the illnesses that beset life and live without craving. And these are illnesses that arise from craving, illnesses of delusion, of dissatisfaction, of suffering. You are the light and the Lord, Rama, and this world appears to be in that light. It has no real and independent existence. Formerly, you had repeatedly entertained the wrong notions of the desirable and the undesirable. Give up these too, then you will enjoy equanimity, and the wheel of birth will come to a halt. In whatever the mind tends to sink, retrieve it from it, and direct it towards the truth. And this is spiritual practice. In whatever the mind tends to sink. We're not talking about depravity here or anything like that. It's what the attention gets lost in. It's what saps our sense of being. Wherever your attention is, that is the nature of your being at that moment. You can retrieve the attention and you can direct it towards the truth. The truth here is the attention itself. Direct your attention to the attention. Thus will the wild elephant of the mind be tamed. First of all, it's restrained, and then it can be guided, it can be steered. Do not be led astray by the long-winded, empty statements of the wicked, self-appointed teachers who have no direct experience. You will surely attain enlightenment by listening to my discourse. So where did that come from? There's this attack on self-appointed teachers who have no direct experience. I suspect that some of these teachers are actually speaking through the Yoga Vasistha. I've suggested the Yoga Vasistha is actually the recording, the written record of a symposium whereby various people have got together and expounded on their understanding. And that's all been put into the words of a dialogue between Vasishta and Ram. And there seem to be competing views within the Yoga Vasistha. And when we're looking at it, I've been trying to point this out, that some of the views that are expressed are really quite off message to what I regard as the central message, which is self-inquiry. And the next story shows the preeminence of self-inquiry. It's the story of the famous Prahlad, who was an uncle. Oh, he was the grandfather of Bali.